Let me remind all of ourselves to take a moment and cultivate the highest form of motivation. We call it bodhicitta motivation or altruistic motivation, seeking complete enlightenment for the benefit of all other sentient beings. And with that kind of at least contrived bodhicitta motivation, we should all participate in this teaching or discourse on mind training like the rays of the sun. Allow me to read about a couple of pages from this Lojong text or mind training text called Mind Training Like the Rays of the Sun, to give you the blessing of lineage oral transmission or lung, followed by explanation starting from page 56.
学术的所有去给大家说的被老母老被我们这么自动，可能会有那么明大的，可能大的去一些小的一点，老的那些呢，都是了解为用心叫人教。学术说给阳光给些呢，小有是。长期也是现在的叫这些毛病嘛，是没得是出可能都讲。现在就说那么点来了嘛呀，有些我的上级的就嘛都中欢迎兄弟。现在我这边回到了这边这因为都对的，他把生活的现在搞在的朋友们些朋友现在记忆，学了多些到多了都现在都是第一学的学生这个里边的3年刚真一个他们建筑工作。如果现在这样的到这种我到呢，到下有现在放弃了都可以，我们哪怕这那然后这些东西有我都，我有或者或者或者或者或者或者比较少。现在当时这的学生多，他们对现在的电视看啥看是现在的，当时这个今天的现在的各地些没有摆，这个下面呢，当时这我也是跟着在现在的电视对吧？我电视是不得的就看啥，看这些呢，那。个年的上下的每一个呢，叫千万的，那些的10万些的，跑的时候都有这个人，10万公里的，那跑的时候都年都用过的，车主的人都地就10万的人，现在的跑机现在的地就都用过的，10万人的跑机什么你地就我就用了，送的了就是我的，过呢。有的上级了，这个原因不说，现在写到写不写，然后呢再有，我就有呢，有些也不手动啊，没得可能的也接受不到这个事。我这个深圳两地，你各地些不上过的，各地些我他妈那用什么结果，用什么没去了，你有什么结果了？现在我就说那原来的深圳的呀。各地些我还是这个事呢，马西文那个各地，马西文那个各地，可是说是地基，可能是地基那是深圳人雄过一招的，就形式些深圳说上级啊个，那个形式说叫今天的形式项目都提出都提的，现在第二天呢深圳的呀，还是这些我在那些结果呀，你这还是那各地些我说的些，都提出来。
Geshe read from page 56 to top of page to give us the blessing of lineage oral transmission. And we are back to page 56 where we left off last time, and Geshe continues his explanation. The key point that we have been discussing or dealing with is, need to what we call equalize and exchange self for others. And why we must do that is because sentient beings have been very kind to us. And we try to reflect on the kindness of sentient beings in 2 ways. One way is that all sentient beings have been our kind mothers. So as mothers, they have made tremendous sacrifices for our well-being, just like the mother of this lifetime. So as we think about sentient beings, kindness as having been our mothers, we really feel the need to feel grateful to them and think of repaying their kindness. But according to equalizing and exchanging self for others, the other way to remember the kindness of sentient beings, that is, even when sentient beings have not been our mothers or fathers or any other relational things we can label, they still have been very kind to us. As a matter of fact, all of our well-being and happiness is dependent upon sentient beings. So therefore, as we look at things from different perspectives, we can feel and see that sentient beings have been extremely kind to us. From Dharma point of view, if you use a metaphor here, sentient beings are the best kind of a field to grow the best kind of crops, the harvest of enlightenment, isn't it? And so they're very precious, to us for our spiritual development. And so in our relating to sentient beings, we need to cultivate patience or tolerance, soba. And of course, before we could, practice patience, we need to abide by, the practice of ethics. So the point we're trying to make here is that as we practice the perfection of patience, within it is included all other perfections. The perfection of ethics comes before, the perfection of patience, and the rest of other perfections follow the patience and are related to that. So the bottom line is this, that we think in every possible ways how sentient beings have been indeed very kind to us. And so therefore, that is the reason why we need to exchange self for others. We need to think more about the well-being of others rather than one's own self-interest or selfish interest. We are on page 56 in the middle and towards the end. So the point that is being made is that sentient beings are very precious, very valuable. Why? Because they constitute causes for us to achieve Buddhahood enlightenment. Yeah. And examples given to illustrate this point is like when we seek either Upasaka or Upasika layperson's vows, or any other monastic vows, to be able to receive those vows, there has to be a group of essential, members, such as abbot, such as the preceptor. And once we receive vows from them, we really respect them, cherish them. Why? Because they have been so kind for us, to guide, on the path to enlightenment, and they become the causes for us to be able to advance towards enlightenment. If that's our reason why we respect and we cherish abbot and preceptors of our vows, the reason is the same. Sentient beings are the causes for us to achieve enlightenment. Without them, we cannot achieve our ultimate spiritual goal. So, of course, our focus here is on the practice of tolerance or patience. As Geshe said this the other day, and he said it again here, an opportunity to practice patience is rare, relatively speaking, because it's really hard to find, people who are going to drive you nuts and crazy. In terms of generosity and ethics, relatively speaking, these are easier to practice. But in terms of patience, when do we really, cultivate actually patience and experience it when someone challenges us, right? Someone is going to drive us nuts, make us mad, crazy. But there aren't too many people who are going to do that. So whenever we find that opportunity, if we are going to lose our coolness, we get upset, mad, and angry, and we tell it against them, there we have lost a very precious opportunity to practice patience that can bring us to enlightened state, So as a matter of fact, someone who is going to challenge us, upset us, is providing us this rare opportunity to cultivate patience and to grow beautifully in patience, towards enlightenment. So therefore, that person who harms us in that sense is, as a matter of fact, providing us the opportunity to create a cause for enlightenment. So in that sense, we should be grateful to that person. If we label that person as our enemy, or we may not label that person, whatever. So that at the end of the page 56, we have two stanzas quoted from Bodhisattva Mahasattva Shantideva's Guide to Bodhisattva Way of Life to substantiate that very contention or the point.
This is setting because so to joke on the career. But this don't go ahead. Talk about came to your dead of this to start with you. It has a go to you, college job with the years. But it doesn't get past college job with switch. I didn't begin her Cassera, though that was she had to be wrong now. So the college of the job. Two king shadows that she don't tell us, love the Dhargye of this. But that over the cell, the college, that changed dead of these of the daddy table where you should go. We see what did not you get Dhargye of that.
At the bottom of page 56, the first stanza from A Guide to Bodhisattva Way of Life basically states, as Geshe explained, that when we find actual opportunity to practice patience, because someone showed up, said the darnest things, and so we should actually, be very grateful and joyful that this person has showed at our door and given us this opportunity to practice patience. The example given is that usually we all know, how difficult it is to even earn your basic necessities of life, right? Food, clothing, shelter. And then on top of that, you want to be famous and, well regarded and all of that. So those things require a lot of efforts to succeed and have them. But for some reason, we kind of land on a treasure, right? That it can really solve all our problems. We will be very happy and joyful, isn't it? In the same way, someone who really says unkind to us, or maybe who hurts us in some sense, this person, from spirituality point of view, is just like a treasure. Instead of going in search of that person, who's going to drive us nuts, well, this person knocked on our door. How wonderful is that? Without need to make any effort, he or she showed up. So we should really seize the opportunity and be joyful, and then seize the opportunity and be patient, cultivate patience, seeing that this is a great opportunity for us to create cause for enlightenment.
But today, you can't say you should be a near show. She doesn't again to the daily any lunacy out of that, but it is some good of peace. Super what the pig is.
The second stanza at the bottom of page 56 reads, I quote, "When anyone abuses me, or even when others do me harm, when they afflict me in such ways as these, may they all have the fortune to gain enlightenment," unquote. So the explanation Geshe given here is, let's say, when someone bad-mouthed about us, you are so-and-so, yagadi, all of that, or that when someone might belittle us, kind of put us down, and when someone maybe even beat us up, whatever they do, like verbally and physically and harm us, as a matter of fact, if we know how to, so to speak, use these adverse factors into favorable conditions for enlightenment, here are the actual real opportunities to practice, patience. So patience can only arise, and we can only enhance patience when we are given actual opportunities to, face off all these challenges. So instead of getting kind of upset or be unhappy, we should be very joyful and to kind of seize the opportunity that there are the real opportunities, So I could walk the talk, so to speak, and I can cultivate the patience and get closer to enlightened state. If somebody abuses us, one opportunity to practice patience, get closer to enlightenment. Somebody belittles us, one more opportunity. Somebody beat me up, another opportunity. So as a matter of fact, all these incidents are bringing us closer and closer to enlightened state. On top of page 57, we have precious words of great Kadamba Geshe Chekaba. And he said, I quote, and then I'll translate the explanation given on his words. Even when hurt is offered in return for help, respond by meditating on great compassion. In this world, the superior person will accept such misfortune while leading others to goodness, unquote. So Geshe-la's explanation on Geshe Chekaba's words is this, that in the human society, we encounter people with all kinds of personalities and characters. There are those for no reason they may harm us, say unkind things, but then there are those, even if we have been very kind and nice to them, in return, they just harm us. Seems like very ungrateful, right? In that sense. But when we confront such people, we should seize the opportunity to cultivate, compassion, karuna for them. Instead of retaliating against them, we should really wish them to be free of their pain and agony and suffering, whatever is disturbing them. And so if we could, in return for the harm, extend compassion, this is the way of the best, person or the superior person in the world, And as Geshe said, that being in such actual situations, we have the opportunity to practice patience, which is very meritorious because it helps us to accumulate a lot of positive energy or merit, sonam, punya, yeah. But it also helps us to be able to purify a lot of our negative karma actions. So this is an opportunity for us to be able to do, accumulation of merit and purification of negativity. So therefore, this is a very precious moment, and so we should extend compassion to the person rather than, pay back by the same measure, return the harm.
我记得在那个里面，缺内的送这些个是，但反正小区是不是内的送的这些用过这些个是的。
We're on page 57, the second paragraph, if you will. So as Geshe explained, that we, very deeply and sincerely reflect on the kindness of sentient beings. We deeply appreciate their kindness because they are the causes for us to achieve enlightenment, and they provide us the actual opportunities to practice patience and so forth and get closer to enlightened state. If our mind is really trained well through these lojong mind training practices, and our mind is in sync with, in tune with the lojong, okay, and we have that kind of habit of lojong practice, then even if we, almost everything we do, it becomes a practice to accumulate merit and to purify negativities. We don't have to purposely kind of go in search of some kind of a practice, because everything we do, somehow becomes, accumulation of merit and purification of negativities by the habit, of mind training and feeling the kindness of sentient beings in the depth of our heart and, seizing the opportunities spontaneously. And some examples given to illustrate that point is, let's say if somebody is, very courageous and physically trained well, right? In the art of fights and whatnot, that person doesn't need to carry a weapon, with him, right? Because he's so well trained that should he come into any dangerous thing, he could pretty much use anything in the environment as a weapon to fight the enemy and protect himself, because of that whole training, Otherwise, if somebody is unskilled, even if he carries a weapon, right, that may not be able to even use it, So it's a matter of that mind training and mental habit, that can be very powerful, and it is almost like it works automatically. It's like automatic button, switch on, right? Any real opportunities to accumulate merit and purify negativities. Another example given here is, let's say if somebody goes to the distant island to fetch jewels. Let's say the whole island is filled with jewels. The whole purpose of being there is to fetch jewels, isn't it? Let's say, there is a dog on the island, I don't know. You're not going to chase the dog, right? Because your whole mindset is, I want to fetch as much jewels as possible. So your mind's in tune with that, right? In a habit of search of the jewels. So like that, through mind training tests, through lojong, thought transformation practices, when our mind is very trained, it's in sync, in tune with everything else, then almost anything we do becomes a purification practice and accumulation practice.
I think for Sanjay Govato, do be short charge. Sanjay Govato, the Hinyavi Mamma,
So we are on page 57, so in the middle and towards the end. So something left from the previous explanation, bodhicitta is almost a phenomenon. If you have it, it's almost like you have everything. It could be called by any labels or names. It doesn't matter. But if you have actual bodhicitta, it is as if you have everything, in the palms of your hand. And the example given is that of, Special Agutama says, for example, the Pandal Hamon, Shri Devi, the goddess, she's known by 100 different names. But it doesn't matter what other names are, it's all referred to her, right? Her qualities and who she is. So in the same way, bodhicitta could be referred to by any other names and labels, but if you have it, so you have everything. And as Geshe explained, according to great Kadamba Geshe, along with Thangpa, really sentient beings are very, very precious. Like usually when we refer to Pranjana Paramita, or the wisdom gone beyond, or the perfectional wisdom, we call it the mother-like wisdom, because we know this wisdom gives rise to enlightenment or enlightened beings. So in some sense, we would say that sentient beings are mother-like, wisdom, because it is by way of relating to sentient beings that we can achieve enlightenment. So therefore, we should be very joyful and happy, enthusiastic, to engage in the practice of equalizing and exchanging self for others. But if you don't have so much joy, to practice it, equalizing, exchanging self for others, it is as if like we are really not that joyful to seek enlightenment. Because without being happy, joyful, and serious about equalizing and exchanging self for others, there is no way to achieve enlightenment. So if you want enlightenment, well, there is no option B. This is it. We have to be happy. We have to be enthusiastic about equalizing and exchanging ourselves for others.
What is that? Don't is so we see the pain around the go to this, Papa surely she this. Modi had a virgin goes, Modi she go. Shivaran told the Toshi told you, did chever to hear so, or dear Dhargye, that Raji the Katona, she did your day, that she that usually make it Dordina. And the science of the day ended up changing the one science and the Sylvia Rajatari told us in this. But when I was sitting to get the dancing, they get the Tadak, Shedoha, you don't know, you are Domotor, they share. She said, Dordina, in the day shot, this is the Kasa. Rosing the Nimuda, Shady, penalty or something, and Taran shocked was. But Rosing the lady, Govacha, you do the Rosing is the Tadak girls top 7 the Toya. That they like consider the Rosing the Joe Dad, changes the Golden, and Sanjay Mosaji was the Gaga considered the Rosing the Baka, and changing the Gonsanji was. She said that Rosing the Yode Kardo, she Kaza, Joe Kardo, Rosing changes the Yode Kardo, that the Mantu legacy in the Sanjay to the legacy I told that you go to do Tabina, she that was the was
Great Bodhisattva Mahasattva Shantideva, in his Guide to Bodhisattva Way of Life, states thus. It's on top of page 58. I quote, "What need is there to say more? The childish work for their own benefit, the Buddha's work for the welfare of others. Just look at the difference between them or between the two." Unquote. So this really stands up provides us the synoptic summary of why we must cherish others and why we should let go self-cherishing attitude. Okay, we have talked a lot about this, but here Shantideva says, what need is there to say, keep on saying more and more? Just simply look at the difference between, Buddhas, such as Shakyamuni Buddha, and we the sentient beings. Yeah? The Buddhas, they have, learned to equalize and exchange self for others, and so they have been able to become Buddhas and enlightened beings with all the enlightened qualities. So they're completely dedicated for the well-being of others. We the sentient beings, we have cherished self over others, right? We have kind of went with the selfishness, self-centeredness, and you can see where we are. We are still trapped in samsaric existence. Forget about fulfilling the well-being of all the other sentient beings. We have not been able to fulfill all of our own personal needs either, And since beginningless time immemorial until now, this is what we have been doing, cherishing ourselves, over others. And what have we really achieved so far? Is there anything meaningful we can point at and say, hey, this is what I have achieved, something here meaningful? We haven't, So which means now we should really revisit our habit and mindset and say that instead of cherishing self for others, let's learn to cherish others over self, exchange self for others, just the way all the Buddhas did. Yeah. So if we learn that and if we cultivate that mental habit and follow it, I think we can also become enlightened beings like them. Yeah. So simply looking at the difference between enlightened beings, Buddhas, and us sentient beings, we can understand, why, and we must exchange self for others, all the benefits of cherishing others, all the downfalls of cherishing selfishly or self-centeredly.
What is it because the Dali Parasani,
we are on top of page 58. The passage right after Shantideva stanza states, as Geshe explained, that we should explore and in every possible way reflect on the benefits of cherishing other sentient beings, and we should explore and reflect in every possible ways the downfalls or the disadvantages of self-cherishing attitude. Yeah. And if we do that, we can start to feel that sentient beings become very dear and near and intimate to our heart, and then we develop this special kind of love called Yong Chamba to be able to see all sentient beings as being our beloved, so close to the heart. So when we have that kind of a loving attitude, then it's easier to be able to cultivate compassion, wishing them to be free of suffering, and from which arises bodhicitta, the altruism. Yeah. And of course, at this point, we are at a conceptual state. We reflect on those things, and maybe it is very conceptual, it's very intellectual. We're just imagining it, Yes, I would like to cherish others more than myself. I want to kind of minimize and let go my self-cherish attitude. But still, it is, not a part of our mental habit, But we have to keep on doing the same contemplation and reflection so that we can transform this conceptual experience into actual experience, direct. So when it becomes a part of us, our nature, then we don't have to think more. It becomes our second nature that we really find ourselves cherishing others more than ourselves, and we let go our ego or the self-cherishing attitudes. Until then, until that time, when that kind of transformation takes place, we have to keep on doing our practice of equalizing and exchanging ourselves for others. No. So this powerful technique to cultivate bodhicitta, which is called Dhargye, equalize self with others and exchange self for others. So what we have really seen so far in this mind training, like the rays of the sun, there's a lot of explanation about how to and why we must exchange self for others. But there seems to be less kind of a explanation about equalizing self with others. So what that means is, of course, maybe we can all recognize that like all of us are same in that we wish for happiness, we don't wish for suffering. Yes, in those wishes, in terms of those wishes, we and sentient beings are just equal, same. Yeah. Now this is kind of understandable, right? I think anybody would probably say that, yeah, I want happiness, I know everybody else wants happiness, I don't want any pain, I don't think anybody wants pain, right? But that kind of knowledge is not adequate to be able to equalize self with others. Equalizing self with others really actually means is that we don't differentiate between self and others. We don't categorize us versus them. In our mind and attitude, if there's any kind of suffering, whether it's my suffering or somebody else's suffering, we don't make any distinction between mine and others. We just think that suffering needs to be ended, isn't it? When it comes to finding happiness, right? Whether it's my happiness or somebody's happiness, and everybody wants happiness, so therefore, we should strive to bring happiness to, to all. So we don't make a differentiation between I and you or self and others. We just think every kind of suffering, nobody wants it, so therefore make efforts to end it. Every kind of happiness, everybody wants to have it, so make efforts to make it happen. Yeah. So when we have that kind of attitude in our heart, that's what we call equalizing ourselves with others. In the middle of page 58, you can see a big caption reads, actually cultivating the awakening mind concerned with interests of others. So underneath that, what is instead is that whether it is to do with equalizing and exchanging self for others, we can look at it, in terms of what needs to be done while we are in actual practice or session. We call it Thubten. And what needs to be done, in between the sessions, when you're out of the session, and how to do the conclusion kind of thing. So we have to see that, what to do when we are actually practicing it in the session and how to conclude it. And what can we do when we are out of the session and in between the sessions, called Thubten.
동원님 배만 샤다디 로주 도지비세요. 계속 때 류루지 계자 해었다는 거네. 샤바고가 거기서 샤바디 이제고 샤바디 디자가 대화대로 샤바셔야 되잖아. 용 샤바디 샤바디 용 샤바디 공사라. 대화대로 샤바셔야 되지. 다디 이제 거기다 이제도 샤바이도 수행에 되게 되어야 말라고. 지금도 지금 쇼를 깨우냐. 어제 뭐 다음에 또는 배만 잘 해송됐어. 류루지 계자 해놨다는 거는 샤바고마 라서 동호 배우산에서 서는 또슈대 교육이 있어요. 어디 다 거기 저 샤바고나 가려 보고 그러시나? 류루지 계자자 지게와 땅을 보내는 샤바고 어디 샤바고 류야 다 알리 샤바고야 어디야 숙소보냐 다 알리게 샤바고 페이는 시기 있어. 거기 나는 그 님은 거기 님은 그 정도 제디 님이야다. 여와저도 그 페이시야 저기 그 기존이 남자 마셔다 그 본들이야다 당들이야 지금 뭐 세대 이제 이제 페이는 님이 거기에 시고 이 시기 있어.
Towards the bottom on page 58, the big caption reads meditation on love. And underneath that, there's one statement which comes from 7-point mind training text, fundamental. And in the Tibetan word, it says we should alternate, giving and taking, or tonglen. In this translation, they translated as practice a combination of giving and taking. The Tibetan word is Dharma means alternate. So here it's translated combination. Anyway, doesn't matter. That's just what I was saying. And so one of the things that we're actually cultivating include love, chamba, or maitri, and compassion, nyingje, or karuna. Yeah, so these are the attitudes that we are trying to cultivate. And as Geshe said, love here, maitri is defined as wishing others to be happy. Remember earlier we talked about Yuon Chamba, the love to be able to see everybody as your beloved. That's a little different kind, right? We just want to see everybody is dear and near to us, that kind of love. But here, the love means that we want everybody to be happy. We wish everybody to be happy. So that is what love is all about. So out of love, or with love as a motivation, then we practice giving. Yeah? And what are the things that we have to give, if you ask? The things mentioned here are we can give our body, we can give our resources, longje, we can give our merit or positive energy, right? So these are the things we can give, in a sense, dedicate for the well-being of others, make others, happy. But before we even go there, we really have to think about the benefits of cultivating love. Yeah. But when we really kind of think about the benefits of cultivating love, then we feel more, interested to cultivate it, isn't it? We have to convince ourselves that love is a beneficial attitude that we should cultivate. So therefore, reflecting on its benefits is very crucial in the beginning. Just like Geshe said, if you want to get rid of negativities, we have to think about how negativities are problematic and how, they kind of trap us, right? Then we feel interested to get rid of the negativities. And so in our practice, so we often have to think about the benefits of, cultivating love or doing our practice, and the disadvantages of negativities and all of those things that need to be abandoned. So in terms of cultivating love and compassion, which one comes first, right? The kind of thing. If you ask, there is no set order here. Yeah, and if we cultivate love, somehow it leads us to compassion. And if we cultivate first compassion, somehow it leads us to the love. They are somehow interconnected and interlinked. There is no like a restrictive order that you must cultivate love first and then come back. No, there's not. It could arise, whichever order it arises, but it could, how should I say, activate or lead to the other.
我这定义的朋友定义的就是小车的这个现在呢，确保他们不为企业把接着呢的大学的前辈生的长的产品部，这我就叫他都会行了，最大的第三他可以第一下，可是。 小车的时候，你行的些，行上去行小车的时候，那这个手套不着啊。现在地铁上也行了，去吧那么是去吧那如果这现在这那这人们去吧那么忙不？第二方面是呢，这社会忙着，其他家生活，企业吧，介绍的，但不是遇到了介绍是那大三级小时都是了啊。 我这个大学吧嘞，那下边是你这样的，产品我第二就是学吧过来嘞，那下边过来的地不用下一个，可能就是个的。学吧这里上级行了呀，上级把比如学吧那么忙不把这个过来嘞，可是下边过来的不用学的是，我这个当然的这些。
At the bottom of page 57, we have a stanza quoted from Samadhi Raja Sutra or King of Concentration Sutras, Tenzin Dorjee. And as Geshe explained on that, even if we arrange for variety of offerings and elaborate offerings, filling millions and billions of how to say, realms of universe, to delight the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, that would be amazing merit, no doubt about it. But what is more meritorious than that is if you cultivate love. So cultivating love is much more beneficial and meritorious than arranging a variety of offerings, elaborate offerings every day, filling the whole universe to delight Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, So this shows the value of cultivating Maitri or love.
我跟你讲，我这个清净的和尚，这大学的时候，这到考试，不是行他也不是，不是上一小时时候他也不是，去吧那就没有忙过，这样谁就没有吧，这样人就没有吧。 No. Geshe
wants to be very careful. He doesn't want to miss any word there. So if you look carefully in that stanza quoted from Samadhi Raja Sutra, what is being said is that, we arrange for a variety of offerings, not just one kind, a variety, isn't it? And that too not limited, elaborate, limitless. And that we fill in the millions and billions of, realms in the universe. That's a lot. And we offer them to the limitless Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. That's a lot. But all the merit we gain from that, and making that offering every day, right, like forever kind of thing. But the merit is still less than the merit we will accumulate if we cultivate love. In other words, cultivating love is much more love for sentient beings, wishing them to be happy, truly and honestly, actually, is much more beneficial and meritorious than making all that arrangements of offerings and forever to all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas and the millions and billions of world systems.
我见过我讲课，他都是行最大的优势，确保希望的所有需要送活的，人民辛苦来讲，上下一场的上级20学务级的靠东北这个学校在那。 有个我啦，是不是？电话是的，身边那的电话的电脑，比如老小交通的城市街位，新的他呢，生活都是有装备，深圳他们的现在深圳呢，那么的什么些，忙的街呢，忙的街呢，和你这的那个但是没学校的，是电视的。 一路过去的，甚至那他的聊天都是， then what she was started, somebody was given, because somebody was in that was the Rams wanted to, although Yato somebody was given, today somebody could know what is on chair.
We have a big passage quoted from a Sutra on Adornment of Manjushri's realm on page 59. So basically what is stated there is this, that somebody who is absorbed in the state of cessation for eons, or somebody who keeps the monastic vows for 100 years, well, of course those will accumulate a lot of merit. But what is much more meritorious than those things is if we truly cultivate love, even for a while, for sentient beings. So that's much more meritorious. On page 59, we have 3 stanzas quoted from Precious Garland or Rinchen Chenwa, Ratnavali, and where again is highlighted the amazing merits that arise from cultivating a love for sentient beings. And the examples given are that, let's say you will prepare this like amazing variety of delications, or like it's not ordinary food, right? It's a special food, right? And you will offer that 3 times a day to the Buddhas. Of course, that's amazing. You will accumulate a lot of merit. But what is much more meritorious than that, if you truly cultivate love for a while for sentient beings? So with that kind of cultivating love, we get so many benefits, such as that we will be highly regarded by both the divine beings, gods and humans, and that we will receive the protection from them, right, from obstacles, and that because of the power of love, we find ourselves as if effortlessly engaging in the positive actions. So our positive actions will, increase, get enhanced by the power of love. And the last stanza from Precious Garland reads, I quote, "You will effortlessly achieve your purpose and could be born in Brahma's realm, even if you have not attained liberation through love, the 8 spiritual qualities are gained, unquote. So it's that if we cultivate love for sentient beings, even if we don't find liberation from samsara here and now, but we will still be able to accomplish and enjoy a lot of benefits and qualities. And as Geshe explained, that with love, everybody, feels attracted to you, right? I mean, we know that people who are very kind and loving, people love to get close to them and hang out with them. The more people they're able to gather, they have more opportunities to benefit them, isn't it? If somebody is kind of I should say, not loving, unkind, and kind of a troublemaker, nobody wants to be with him. Everybody just goes away. See, that power of the love we can witness with our own eyes. And as we know that our own teacher, Shakyamuni Buddha, right? How did he conquer all the host of Maras, who didn't want him to be Buddha? By the power of love, isn't it? Buddha did not conquer them or defeated them by using some kind of destructive weapons, atomic bombs, and he didn't say that, but you know what I'm saying, like nuclear bombs or something. He just simply extended true love towards the Maras. By the power of the love, the Maras got defeated, isn't it? So this is the benefit of cultivating love. So on top of page 60, what we find stated there is highlighting the importance of cultivating love. Then out of love that we dedicate, all the things we have for the well-being of sentient beings. So in the Bodhisattva Char Avatar or Guide to a Bodhisattva of Life, where you find the actual, right, to be performed for generating the awakening mind or bodhicitta, and that involves making a commitment or a pledge that having generated it, I'm going to keep it until enlightened state. Then I will dedicate myself for the well-being of others. So here also it's mentioned that so it is out of love and compassion that we, benefit sentient beings. Out of love, we give our body, our possessions, our resources, and our roots of virtue. And the more explanation about all these things follows, as Geshe said, the reason why we want to give what we have for sentient beings is to be able to accumulate merit and wisdom. It's more like accumulating merit, right? For the wisdom part, we have to think about ultimate reality of things, but definitely by cultivating love and dedicating what we have for the well-being of beings, we will certainly accumulate a lot of positive energy or merit.
Money Luton say, on the Shartse of the Zone number she say, Jake Domazuna, that don't to worship. That Luton you should attack what she was done. Luton said, Luton said, it is beautiful Shartse to the Sayata Thomas. But the Lama is a little museum. Theology, that makes Shashi. Sanjay did that seems to in the seems to the Shabsi Shed, Romalia Guru, yeah, so the Lama, she has the crew of tell me, she had no say, you don't say that. Get over to try the shy good and get your that music you will share up on as well. They don't know the time of the Shaparata
we have on page 60 in the middle, there is a passage quoted from Bodhisattva Mahasattva Shantideva's Guide to Bodhisattva Way of Life, which reads, I quote, I'll give away without restriction my body, possessions, and the virtue I have produced in the 3 times to accomplish the welfare of all beings, unquote. So as we said, what have we got to give to others or dedicate to others? We have our body, our possessions or resources belong to it, and our virtues. Now in terms of giving body, what does it mean? Well, it has different levels of meaning. Yeah? In this context, giving our body means, let's say, as Geshe quoted some passage from his memory, where we sometimes say we offer our body to the gurus. What really means is that we offer ourselves in the service of the gurus, right? That's what giving body means. Giving body doesn't mean that I literally give my body to the guru, It means that I, from here on, am going to serve you, So in the same way, giving body to sentient beings means that we would like to serve sentient beings in whatever way we can. That's the meaning of it. Of course, the other meaning is that, at a certain point, realization that say there are beings, who thrive on flesh, blood, bones, and all of those things, like the invisible beings, Of course, they need, our blood and bones and marrows and, all of those things. So at such time, when we reach certain stage, we are capable, then we literally give our flesh and bones to them. Just like our Buddha, when he was, a prince one time, and he saw a hungry tigress with the cubs, and he basically cut his flesh and, give his blood and feed them, right? That also means giving body, but that comes much later time, my footnote. When you really could do it, mean it. Until then, giving body simply means in the service of others. It doesn't mean literally give your body, cut your flesh and bone and, blood to and give to others. It doesn't mean that.
What said, the list that was the work of the dollars, Dhargye Jota Gyeltsen, she gave this journey, said, Doji the Joshua Bushini, God knows what the truth knows what Nam-kha knows what Tibetan Gyeltsen Tishabi. The challenges about Dhargye Tibetan Gyeltsen. Shed usually Tenzin Dorjee, Gaden, Jesus Somata, Kala Kandiki, Nama Tomate, usually Mugde Panese, God said the Kogi, Sinjibongi Java, Yuji Kudu, not also, Dulan Johnny, Darling Governor, Lashidan, the Tewanta. You do not get rid of the sense of it. Indian Mameda, Mameda, Name the Dhargye GSTDL, Queen Jojo, River Jodo, Bobas Sanse, Pasahin Shin Tata, South Joshua, Nangashi to Tabaya, Sinjipa Meway, Namani, Shena Show, Tiget Nangash. Tatu, Sinjin and Tatu, Tenzin and Deva, Dani, you share your share show here, that the bones yard was you to the Gazetta. Look for a shut out of you for a color coverage at the food that they got the Cuba, the only the Maria, and say that they should do that. So you to the devil, what to have. the savers that's the thing in the Gogama Hill, say good sutra, so the user could see the audio. The Shina considered the Kadu Cindy Carpeng to the Chitu, or she had the other chin, two to the Toya, Chitatoya, the race. That, yeah, some years, Sanjay, yes, Robert was Toya. That seems that the cook for a category for category this year. I business in the shot the top over to jails of the ship, that was a shot. Because of course, Toya remarked to use jail money, she was a Toya, only one Toya, that one is the third Tibetan, only in
So Geshe read, you know, from middle page 60 to 61. You know, you have, let me see, 5 stanzas quoted from Guide to Bodhisattva's Way of Life. So the point here is that, you know, giving body means, as we said, there are different levels of meaning. And as we are training our mind, and we are really not ready to give our body, literally, what it really means is that we give our body in the sense that in the service of others, right, we are going to dedicate ourselves. That's what it means. It doesn't mean cut your body into pieces and then give to others. Because, you know, as we said, you know, that may be true at certain other point later on, but not at this point. Yeah. And another way is that we can visualize our body. Imagine it in the form of all the things that sentient beings need, fulfill their needs, you know. And like sentient beings, if they need food or drink or shelter or, you know, whatever. So we kind of imagine mentally that our body transforms into all of those things and fulfill their needs. So that's kind of mind training and the visualization that we do. Yeah. So in the case of, how should I say, invisible, you know, demons or spirits, you know, who thrive on, you know, flesh and blood and the marrows and all of that. So we visualize that, you know, we are giving all our flesh, bone, whatever, literally to them. So it's imagination, it's a visualization, mind training, you know, practice. In the case of Buddhas, of course, we offer our body, you know, true Buddha in the sense that Buddha could use our body in whatever way to benefit sentient beings. So in the service of others, right? We want to assist Buddha to fulfilling, to benefiting sentient beings, and in that way we offer our body, you know, to Buddhas. And as Geshe said, you know, of course, at this point we are more like training our mind. It doesn't mean that we will never ever give our body literally. As we said about the story of, you know, Buddha, you know, feeding the hungry tigress with the cubs, isn't it? That was not an imagination. That was literal. Buddha literally cut his flesh and fed, right? But that's, you know, that is a situation where Buddha is capable of doing that out of compassion, strength, everything, willing to do that happily. Then that's a different matter. Until then, you know, for us, giving body means more like dedicating service and things like that. Imagining our body in all ways to fulfill the needs of sentient beings. And we will stop there today, and we welcome your questions. There's one question. So first of all, I really thank you for asking the questions short, and you know, I really appreciate that. And I also want to say that if there are too many questions, usually I'll just do random, right? I'm not going to pick and choose. So sometimes your questions may not be answered today, but don't be disappointed. Maybe next time you re-ask it, because we are not going to go back to the old. And there was a big one there. I'll wait for that. And let me start with this iPad question here. When I face someone very selfish, how do I equalize myself with that person? That's a very clear, short answer. I love it. You know. So I would ask that question to Geshe. Can you tell me the direction? That you get wage, Kangsa, that's all. Namashi me like in the two wage. Kangsa get Namashi me. So Namaru much delay wage. 강사 나도 무지 되려 열어봐. 아니, 나 랍되게 되려 열어봐게. 니네 투수 나사, 니네 미리 냠돌이야. 말한 다 냠을 쓰고 열어봐게. 당신 가르치 냠 그랬어. 나도 무지 되려 투인도 같다. 그러나 무지 람드다.
자, 왜 람드 서버지?
람드 서버지 나 람드 니네 냠들 가고 나 니 냠도 다 당신 가르치 냠 그랬어.
아니, 제가 왔다 다시 잡자 거야. 드서 공부라. 왜 상부 드서 공부하려고 그러고 다시 잡지 거야 드서
나 건강에 간절 공부 쓰었어. 나 건강에 간절 공부 쓰었어.
건강은 다 이제 코코저시 경험시 서버도 배우지. 서버 배우도 코코기지. 닝지시. 소소소 레게 벌써 코코고 말마. 코코기서 소소 코코지 레벨도 지금 봐. 레벨은 꼭 다시 한번 어디지 말아. 어디에 유저 뭐서네. 레마지 서버 공부를. 다 서버에 배우도 간절 상도가 되고 와.
Geshe is chuckling over this, just to give it a sense of why he's chuckling over this, is, the question is, when I face someone very selfish, how do I equalize myself with that person? Of course, it's easier said than done, but this is real opportunity, isn't it? And kind people, right, is, easy to practice, and maybe sometimes we don't feel the need to practice. But when we're confronted with a challenge, egomaniac, shows up, and this is where, instead of losing our coolness, we try to really understand the person that the person is under the influence of selfishness. It's very limiting, isn't it? So then we said this is like an opportunity for me to bear with this person, to practice tolerance, and then think about the disadvantages of selfishness, self-centeredness, and the benefits of equalizing and exchanging self for others. So in that way, we find a real opportunity to be able to, relate to that person. Yes, so that's Geshe-la's answer. The next question I have is on another cell phone here. Like many other Buddhists, and I'm aware that Buddhism does not teach passivity. But it might be helpful for some clarification here. If someone is physically harming you, it is important to defend yourself if you are being attacked or raped, example, right? We should not overly hurt the aggressor, minimize the physically harming them, but we should protect ourselves in such circumstances. Okay, thank you. So that was a bit long, but it's very clear and understandable. I've asked Geshe-la. That Tibetan Buddhism again.
Yes.
남배 취업이 가서 가요 라요 취업을 들어가게 맞아 지금 양배들 가서 오면서 있는 데로 가게 가서 서버 걸어로 치는 와 보면 근데 좀 말와서 들어가게 계속 미션 맞지기 나로 뭐네 뇌게 들어가게 반다 비매로 지금 자원 당가 용어체면은 소소 송교제 계속 말와서게 뭐 양은 이제 저걸 송교유 때는 다 리마로가게 어쨌든 다 파를 계속 동네 제거에 있는 양미들 쉬운 뇌 맞게 들어가게 동네 제국으로 와서 만약 진짜 왕당가 연구 유명들의 소소다 지켜 무슨 얘기가 연구 유명냐로 와게 니들의 말을 왜서 나지단 니 자기 대세대로 와게 신기 소소 내가서 서버 공부를 하러 와게 나디기 세세로 나로서 와게 서버 공부하데 미 자왕단의 서버 공부로 와 미냐 최신의 서버 공부 그냥 최신 디소르게 군다 당 자왕당 표면에 내려 와게 이제 서버 공부에 좀 말로 와서 그리 자왕당가 요나 비면 등산장 제염 땅에 먹고도 하게. 네 서버 공부라도 가서 제염 땅주 네대写的 말와서 보다게.
네. 다 이제 저도 대신 자주 시작 문제에서 발레로 그래서.
그러나 아니 렌데 미리 시작만에 이나 소소소 송교 제거 렌로 과에 내가 여러 와서.
네. 근데 만들 최대 만들 수 있는 딱그 지금서 발레마도 등자를 쓰게요. 나도. 이제 다 쉬어야 되는데 왜 가가 줘서 그거. 진짜 소소 떠가셔야 지야 저 소리게 야 심지어 현담 내가시 이제 딱 내산 되게 남이도 그래도 뒤를 봐오자 내가시길래 뭐지 누구도 뭐로 진짜 그 내가시야 돼 코치고 내가시야 지고 말이 소소달래 그게 기대 내가시고 그게 내사자래 지금 단단단 주는 거를 해야 돼도 나 이제 카드를 내가시고 소카한테 내가시게 준서는 얘네가 캠을 떼니면 지금 너무 좋은 캠을 떼니서 또 가게 매발 야 또 가고 배우고라. 어디나 이거 뒤에서 때리면서 거기 같이 기다까지 시험을 삼았다. 이 시험이야 그래서 그거는 수업이 무슨 이 수업도 더 숙셔보시 수업만에 전화를 해야 된다. 가지고 수업 부부에서 하는 힘을 근데 가서 쉬게 되는 거로. 그래서 또 시험을 두고 그래서 뒤에 그 상지와 야지 내를 힘을 또 보여서 이 거까지 시험을 제거해서 그래도 삼야 지금 계시버리
이 하고서 이렇게 코나서도 저와도 여러 가게 하이를 와요 지금 와게 내가 비밀을 지금 장원당가 연을 와게 나고 가와 보면 당당 주다 저시들레는 리마를 와다 어디 동네 최고고 여러 와를 와게 맞아 거서 봐 제가 그냥 아자마다네 단데 니마 교랑 얘기 되듯이 소치에서 라면 리마를 미세가 아니라 세주로 와다 많이 배상이 거보다 좀 가세네 세라 대두 말로게 그래서 가요 라요부터 내 동네 시작으로 와서 와게 저한테 서버 공세디 파렌지도 써서 제국어로 와게 어디 동네 가는 시작으로 했어요 미안 디자인 이제 좀 시작으로 와게 저잖아 딱 맞아 서버 공부를 저 가게 뭐 가면 좀 대지단 미초적으로 와미가 그래 와게 이네 세가 연에 세주로 와 두바연에 두주로 장마단에 땅주시나 양 고로로 와게 어디 있어요 이게 가는 상황도 있어
다 근데 그 수업 공부했다 그 전부터 시작하고 보야 그러다 타기 견다 잘 가지고 그 양대 잡고 타기 도시기로 왔다 그러나 그 수업 공부는 콜라키면은 그래서 저 소보도 내가 이거 타기 견다 비하로 타기 견다 비하래 제가 얘가 말이 저 사기 전공도 무슨 거 띠까고 그 돈을 못 받으셔요 근데 원수가 근데 그때는 짠 많이는 파콜 주는 누가 되게 가리는 거지. 가지고 그 최시하고 정보서 지금 비슷한 거로 대단한 되고.
So I was trying to make sure that I communicate clearly the question being asked, the situation you depicted, so that you get proper answer to your question. Of course, Geshe said that when we say that we confront harmful agents or beings, it doesn't mean that we let them take advantage of us. That's what not the patients mean. In a situation like you depicted, like say if somebody is here to rape you or somebody is here to kill you, of course it's a very practical thing. There's no reason to let somebody kill you or rape you, isn't it? So it is proper that we can do what we can to protect ourselves. You could run away, you can scream, or you get other help. Those are the things we need to do. But patience means in our heart, we should not, I should say, be angry and have hostility towards that person. Whatever we need to do practically to defend ourselves, to fight back, if we will, so that we don't harm the person too much, but we can, let's say, calm down, subdue the person. So those are practical things to do. Okay? So the patience should not be understood as letting others take advantage of us because we are Dharma practitioners. Like, okay, do anything you like. That's not what it means, So we have to assess the situation and be practical, in that sense. So I hope that answers your question as well. And I think those are the questions for today. Thank you for asking short questions, and even that short paragraph is very clearly written, and I appreciate that. We have a prayer.